hanging thread from the Eternals was addressed in this movie, right? So I remember when we talked about Thor: Love and Thunder and the introduction of Hercules, one of the ideas that I thought would be really funny, because again, they've kind of, in the movies, they've sort of made Thor, his attitude is very much like Hercules in the Marvel comics. And so Thor was always the straight man in the comics, and Hercules was the comic relief, right? So to speak, or at least that's where that they would butt heads on that respect. So with Thor kind of being how he is in the Marvel movies, it would have been really neat to see a very serious, Hercules coming to confront Thor because of what happened, on Olympus, and then sort of learning to lighten up around Thor and then become that Hercules in the comics. And I think I had an idea back then that what a really fun way to do it would be if it was really like a road trip across America of Thor and Hercules. So then you have them in the car bickering about music or where they're going to stop, and again it would touch back to in the comics when they were roommates for a brief time in the late 80s, early 90s, and they were very much a Felix and Oscar type vibe going on there. So I always wanted to see that. I also thought it would have been really cool and a missed opportunity because they haven't done it. Since Hercules was coming to Earth to find Thor, it would have been really cool to see Brett's Hercules show up in a bunch of different Marvel movies for like a scene looking for Thor, right? That kind of thing would have been a really neat way to sort of pay off his eventual starring appearance. So we'll see what we get. We'll see if they do have room to bring him back with what they have announced thus far. But yeah, there is a fifth Thor movie on the horizon, so I think that's probably where that's going to slot in. So again, everything's really in flux now. We have the new Spider-Man movie coming out, and then we got the two Avengers, Bang Bang, Doomsday, Secret Wars, and then a possible movie reboot down the road. But I hope they do at least fulfill that promise from that end scene from Thor.
Yeah, I hope so too. There are a couple of I'm not going to be able to show them on the screen because it blurs them too much. But there are a couple of good things you could buy now because the issues themselves, and they used to have the originals once upon a time. I have no idea what happened to those or where they went. But they have the meetings with Thor and the Journey into Mystery, and they have it in color. You can get it. Let's see.
Oh, Hercules. Place the comic book directly in front of your face. It'll come out clear. Well, I thought it was.
The camera's being antsy. And the same thing, they have it in the black and white pictures without the color in a much larger volume, the Essential series.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a Thor versus Hercules collection that had Thor and Hercules from their first meetings to their latter meetings and all the battles that they had together. And again, so they're friendly most of the time. But the first time they met, I don't know if it was after Journey into Mystery or during Journey into Mystery or just before it, Thor wound out through a portal to Olympus while they were chasing some frost giants or something, and he meets Hercules, and then they have this epic battle over who has the right to cross over a bridge over a little brook, and there's like a fallen tree, and they argue of who goes first. So they have an epic battle, and then Zeus comes in, and they both kneel to Zeus and accept his will that they be friends, and then Thor goes back to Jotunheim, and he decides not to share with Loki what happened to him because Loki might do something mischievous with the Olympians. And they have Zeus sending Hercules down because a new age of heroes has dawned with the Marvels. So Hercules comes, and of course everybody knows who he is because of the way he looks. And he gets to New York City, and he and Jane Foster start flirting. And she does it to get Thor jealous, but and Thor does get jealous, and he's just was Dr. Don Blake, and you have all this like drama going on. And then they become further friends when, in the same run of comics, a few issues later, Hercules had signed a contract to do a Hercules movie, and it turns out that Pluto, or Hades, was the producer. So he signed himself into the underworld, and Thor was able to cleverly get him out of that contract after a few issues. And both of those stories wound up on TV with the Merry Marvel Marching Society, the Thor comics. So you can still get those on DVD or Blu-ray and watch them, or you can pick up the collections, which are affordable, and read it yourself.
Yeah, you mentioned Hercules, the first appearance of Hercules in Marvel Comics.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Journey into Mystery Annual number 1 from 1965. And first and foremost, I just really want to speak to how great the Marvel annuals were, especially in those first few years. Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1, First Sinister Six, probably one of the greatest comics of that era, if not of all time, because you have Spidey facing off of a bunch of foes that he's already met before, but this was the first time they were working together against him. And then at the end of each battle with each individual one, you get these gorgeous Steve Ditko splash pages of Spidey defeating everybody. And then you had the back mat, right? You had how does Spidey's costume work? How do the eyes work? What are his powers? Things like that. Spidey's staff, things like that. So whenever they did these annuals back then, it was such a great special event. And they took an opportunity with this to kind of carry through or continue in the vein of Jack's backup features in Journey to Mystery of the Tales of Asgard. So you got this untold tale of Thor before he was banished to Midgard, and on an adventure with his brother Loki, as you said, and you laid out that whole plot, and then and it was a great. They also love to do these testing grounds, right, for characters. So before they reintroduced Captain America in Avengers number 4, they had a villain dress up as Captain America in Human Torch story, right? And as a sort of testing ground for that. So same deal with this. They were testing the waters for Hercules, and it's that great bit at the end where Zeus seals up that portal, and then it's like, well, maybe that portal will be opened again someday. Stick with us, dear reader. And so as an annual, as just something as a kid, I can imagine just seeing that, picking that up off the news rack. It's a big, hefty comic. You have a brand new story of Thor versus Hercules. Hey, I know about Hercules from school, and things like that. And then you get then they put in a whole bunch of reprints of like Loki's first appearance and other Radioactive Man, and then you have like that gorgeous 2-page spread at the end of the Kirby's map of Asgard. And it was those annuals that Marvel was putting out in the early years were just so cool, so fun, and really did set a trend for what an expectation for an annual should be for a long time after that. Before either annuals just went away entirely, became giant-sized specials, or in like the 90s, crossover events and things like that. Another thing I really think is neat is in general, just about how Stan and Jack handled Thor, which I always find fascinating, is you read those early issues, and it is very much, Don Blake's head is still is there.